डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Hello friends, myself Dr. Alpaba Rajput, welcoming you all in a Chaitanya studio of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. In today's session we are going to focus on a subject, programming principles and algorithm, in which we are going to discuss about the various control structure. In today's session we will cover all the decision making statements of a control structures. Okay, so let me start with the what is a control structure actually is. A control structures involve the use of certain logical expression which will affect the flow of execution. Here on basis of the expression, that logical expression, the flow of the program will be decided, and most of on basis of this logic all the higher level languages are working. So, the blocks of code will interpret the flow of control on based of the specific expression. The types of control structure are defined are jump or unconditional branch, where there is no any expression or condition are provided, we are directly jumping on the specific block or statement on basis of the certain criteria. Here conditional branch is where the block of code execution is completely dependent on a specific condition. Loop, that can be conditional branch. A number of time the specific block of code will be executed till the specific condition is satisfied, which is called the loop control structure. A subroutines, a block of code which will be executed till the end of a specific statement. The coroutines, the continuations, continuously the block of code will be executed for some period of time, and the conditional halt, where we are providing the break on this specific execution of a code if the specific condition arised. Okay. So, let me first today we are going to discuss one of the basic structure, that is a decision making structure. In the next session we will focus on a looping control structure. Okay. So, let us go for it. What is a decision making structures model? Basically, in a decision making structure model, certain conditions are there on basis of which if the condition is satisfied, then and then only the specific block of code will be executed. If the condition is false in any cases, directly the termination of that specific block, means that specific block will be skipped, and the cursor, or we can say our next execution will be moved on a next statement of that specific program. Okay. What is the decision making? A decision making is to analyze the order of execution of a statement which depends upon what? A certain condition that can be either continue with a group of statement till the particular condition are achieved. Okay. In a certain cases, if the condition is satisfied, then it always depends the block of code will be executed. In certain cases, till the condition are achieved, the specific block of code will be executed continuously. Okay. Basically in a C, it implements the various decision making statement with the if statement, with the switch statement, with the conditional operator statement, and with the go to statement. Let me discuss the if statement one by one. The first one is a if statement, a quite simplest way of control statement is a consist of a boolean expression followed by one or more statement. Here if condition hoy છે where it includes the specific condition. If the condition is satisfied, then and then only the specific number of sentence or a single sentence bhi hoई શકે will be executed, otherwise that specific block will be skipped. Okay. So, here it will be applied in a various form for which just identify the specific condition and will execute the block of code. Okay. it's always based on the complexity of condition which need to be executed. Let me see the various forms of if statement. It can be either simple if statement, it can be if else statement, it can be nested if else statement, and it can be else if statement. Let me see the structure of each one and and the example of each one. The simple if statement, the structure of a simple if statement is if the specific expression which defines the specific condition that must be satisfied for executing the block of statement. Here in a statement inside, it can be either a single statement or it can be a block of statement. If it is a single statement, then in that case it is not necessary that you have need to put a opening and a closing brace. For that compounds, when you are having the compound statement within the if statement, in that case it is necessary to add the opening and a closing brace. Okay. Here the flow of this is defined over here, that here if condition, if the specific condition or expression is satisfied, then the code inside the body, this body will be executed and it will go for the further steps to follow. If in any cases, if the condition is false, in that cases the directly the flow will be go to the code after if statement, where the closing brace is given, એના પછીનું જે બી statement છે it will be executed. Okay, let me see the this by the example. For example, we are having the two variable which is initialized with a 20 and a 22. We wanted to get which is the greater one, so we can use the simple if statement to identify which variable is greater than the other one. So we are putting the condition like if x is less than y. Here the condition will be first checked whether the value of x is less than y. If it is true, then this statement will be executed. Otherwise, the flow will be gone to the next statement. After the closing brace છે એના પછી તમારો flow ત્યાં move થશે. So here we can see x is less than y. Yes, so this specific statement will be executed. So in this way, in a simple if statement, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then the block of code જે બી opening અને closing brace ની અંદર આપેલું છે, that will be executed. Otherwise, the flow will be gone to the next statement after the if block. Okay. The next one is a if else statement. In certain conditions that are possible, that only the if is not the answer, the solution to identify the specific condition. If in certain cases condition agar false થાય, તો in that case we have need to execute some other block of code. agar એ define કરવું હોય, in that case is if else is quite important. How? Let me see. First of all, let us see the structure of a if else statement. Here, if the specific expression will execute the specific condition, if the condition is true, then the statement block 1 will be executed if the condition is true. If any cases the condition becomes false, so in that cases the block which is necessary to, or the statement which are necessary to execute it, that will be executed by the else form. Okay, તો આનું જે સ્ટ્રક્ચર છે એ કઈ ટાઈપનું છે, આનો ફ્લો જોઈએ. that the starting if condition will be checked. If it is true, so it will execute the body of a if, means the statement block 1. If it is false, so એ શું કરશે, it will execute the body of a else. Okay, and then it will go to the further steps. So when it is necessary that we have to implement the else part if the specific condition becomes false. So a cases ma we can use the if else statement. Okay, let me see the example. Like the same example, we wanted to get that whether is a x or y is a greater or a lesser than the another each other. Okay, so we wanted to identify that, though earlier we were just checking if x is less than y, so it is lesser than y. It is greater than y, then it is greater than y. But agar is lesser nathi, तो it is greater, that we wanted to define, in that cases we are going for the if else statement. So, see here, it first of all it will go for the if condition, it will check whether x is less than y. In this condition it is true that x is less than y, then the statement this will be executed. Here we haven't given the opening and a closing brace, because if there is only one statement to be executed for the if statement, then that is not necessary to define the opening and a closing brace. But when you are having the set of statement to be executed, if the specific condition is true, then we it is quite necessary to define the opening and a closing brace for defining the compound statement. Okay. So, here x is less than y, then it will print the variable x is less than y. If it is not, then in that case else part will be executed and it will print variable x is greater than y. It is not lesser than the y, but it is greater than the y. So, in this situation we require the if else statement. Let me forward the next statement. It is a nested if else statement. This is a nested if else. Nested means a if within a if. अगर कोई if condition છે એની અંદર બીજું if condition अगर આવે, it is called the nested if condition. Okay. So, here in a nested if, what is the structure? If the specific condition is true, then we again wanted to check the certain other condition. So, for that the specific block is executed, we are checking the one other condition. On basis of that condition we are following the various, we are executing the various other statement. Else, in this else part we are executing the some other block of statement. So, here the flow is defining what? It will first of all it will check whether the condition expression 1 is true. If the expression 1 is true, in that cases it will perform the block statements block 1. In that block also it will check for the other condition, okay, whether the second expression is true. If it is, then it will execute the statement block 2. If the condition is false, then in that case is this specific else related to this if condition will be executed, and all these if condition, if the specific expression false, so in that case is the else part of this if will be executed. जो else statement है, it belongs to this condition, depends on this condition, and the execution of this else is depends on this condition. Okay, let me see this with the example. Suppose we are going with the 3 variable and we wanted to identify whether the variable is greater than the other 2 or not. If it is not, then we wanted to define that b is lesser than that. Okay. So, for example, we have taken x is equal to 23, y is equal to 22 and integer z equal to 20. Now, we are checking the condition if x is greater than y, x is greater than y. Within that also we want to identify whether the x is also greater than the z, x is y greater than y. Yeah, if we get yes, x is greater than y, whether it is greater than the z also, then in that cases we can say the value of x is greater than y as well as z. But in the case when x is greater than y but not greater than the z, then wanted to define the else part, the value x is less than z, but still it is greater than the y. But in a case when x is not also greater than y, in that case it will execute this else part and will print the value of x is less than y. Okay. So, here what happened, if this specific if will be executed. If it is true, then block of this statement will be executed, otherwise the else part of this if will be executed, and this else is belongs to this if. If the x is greater than z, then and then only this will be executed, otherwise this part of else belongs to this if will be executed. Okay. Now, the last if statement that we are focusing on is else if ladder. Else if ladder are important when you wanted to check the multiple condition या multiple alternative conditions एक condition is true, then the second we have need to see, then we want to check the third one. So in this way, if you want to check the alternative condition, in that cases we are going for the else if ladder. The structure of the else if is, if the specific condition is arise, then the statement of block will be executed. Else if the specific expression 2 is correct, then the statement block 2 will be executed. Else if the expression 3 is correct, yeah, condition is satisfied, the statement block 3 will be executed. At the end of this, all this default statement will be executed if all the condition gets false. Okay, so અહીંયા જે alternatives જેટલી બી conditions છે એ line by line check થાય છે, and if it is true, then the alternative block for that will be executed. Otherwise, the last default statement will be executed. The flow is what? The condition will be checked. If yes, statement will be executed. If condition 2, if condition 1 is false, then the condition 2 will be checked. Then the condition 3 will be checked if the 2 is false. And in all the else part, all the else body will be executed. Okay, let me see the example of this. The same example, if you are having the x, y and z, so in that case is, if the specific condition is within that, we are defining the else if condition. Okay. Now the next statement, control structure statement, is a switch statement. Switch statement is important when we to check the various number of cases. જ્યારે તમારે ચેક કરવા હોય તો એવા કેસીસમાં સ્વિચ સ્ટેટમેન્ટ યુઝ થાય છે. Okay, the structure of a switch statement is like this. When we get the specific value, then the specific block of code should be executed. Here the expression is given by the user. On basis of the user choice, it will define which block of statement should be executed, and at the end it will be execute the default when we it not satisfied any case within a switch statement. Okay, so here શું થાય છે, expression will be checked whether which the expression belongs to which case it will be defined, and on basis of that case the specific block of code will be executed. Okay, let me see the example of a switch statement. For example, we are having the integer I equal to t. We have defined the value of I equal to 2. So in a switch statement we have defined the value of I is the what is the value of switch I value is 2. So it will check it belongs to which specific case. Whether it is belongs to 1, no, it's not, the value of I is 2, so it will directly go to the case value what, 2. So it will print the case 2, and so for terminating the loop from there, yeah, for terminating the execution from there, we are putting what, a break. We are putting the break કે જેથી જેટલી બી number of other block છે, it will not be executed. Otherwise શું થાય કે જેટલા બી number of statement એના પછીના છે, it will be one by one executed. Okay, so we are at the end of each block of statement, we are putting the break to terminate the specific block of switch statements. Then in a conditional structure, decisional structure, we are having the conditional operator statement, which is known as a ternary operator statement 2, and it is defined by the question and the double colon and a colon. Okay, the structure of this is, it is define the specific expression. If the expression is defining the specific condition, if the condition is true, then the expression 2 will be executed, where expression 2 is nothing but a statement followed if condition is true. Otherwise the expression 3 will be executed if the expression 1 is false. Let me see here, अगर condition ટ્રુ હોય તો જે ફર્સ્ટ એક્સપ્રેશન છે it will be executed, otherwise the second expression will be executed. Okay. For example, we are asking for the age from the user. We are getting their age using the scanning the value from the user, and then we are comparing whether the age of the person is greater than 18. Here the ternary operator we have provided. Yes, the age is greater than 18, then it will print you are eligible to vote, otherwise it will print you are not eligible to vote. Okay. And the last statement is a go to statement. Go to is basically used to make the program to jump. If the specific condition arise and we wanted to jump towards the specific block of code, in that cases go to is used, and that's why it is quite confusing, less clear and complicated, and it also makes the programming quite difficult because we are jumping from somewhere to some other code of block. Okay. So it makes the quite difficulty. The basic structure of a go to is what? Here we are providing somewhere within a program, we are providing the label name, and with the column we are defining that this is a label, and then we are it will be followed by the number of statements. Now certain cases we wanted to jump to the specific label, then in that cases we will directly write go to the specific label name. તો શું થશે કે તમારો જે ફ્લો ઓફ એક્ઝિક્યુશન છે that will be jump to the specific label and all the other statement જેના પછી આવતા હશે following statement that will be executed. Okay. So here what happened, the number of C statements are provided. Here we are providing the label 1, label 2, label 3. If you wanted to jump from here to the label 3, then what we will write? Here we will put some code through which we will write go to the label 3, then it will directly, it will skip this 2 statement and will jump to the label 3. Okay. And it will execute the rest of the code. So in this way go to statement is used to skip the block of statement and will just jump to the for the execution of a specific block of code. Okay. Let me see the example of a go to statement. Here the same example, we have provided the age, we are fetching the value of a age. Here we are getting the value of a age from the user. If the age is greater than 18, then we wanted to jump to the label vote, otherwise we want to jump to the no vote. If it will go for the vote and it will execute you are eligible for voting. If it is lesser than the 18, it will print you are not eligible to vote. So here from the execution will, if the specific condition is true, the execution will be directly jump to the label here. Okay. તો આ રીતે તમારે within a program jumping કરાવવું હોય, and we want to skip some block of code and want to jump to the other block, so that you can do with the label. Okay. Thank you thank you very much. These are all about the decision making statement. In the next session we will discuss about the looping control structure. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परमम्